Hello, you're listening to Hibs Talk. I'm your host, as always, Gav, joined today by the two Stews. Guys, how's getting on?
Not too bad, Gav. Yourself, mate?
Yeah, good. Nice sunny day. Hibs won. You can't complain.
We should sack our manager every week.
But yeah, so, we're a busy show today. We're going to be talking about the managerial situation. Names are starting to come out. Reports are starting to come out about names. So one in particular, which we'll kind of touch on. Obviously, like I say, a big win in Paisley to discuss. And then I said look ahead, and Stuart had Papa Stu had issues with that last week. Look ahead. So we'll look. I don't know. Look forward. Did you prefer that to the? What's the best way to word it? We'll preview the Livingston game. Yeah, you said you were. I wasn't really looking forward to Livingston away, but we'll get to that.
Look ahead to it, I think.
Aye, we'll get to that towards the end of the show. So, like I say, last week was a busy week for ourselves with the departure of Maloney. Myself and Stuart managed to get, I think it was like 10 o'clock or 10:01, Hibs made the announcement that Maloney departed. I think it was 10:47. I clicked upload for the podcast / YouTube video. So quick turnaround. I thought we'd done well there. And then, Papa Stu on BBC Sports Sound and STV News, myself on Go Radio and Fourth One. No disrespect to them, but Papa Stu definitely got the big guns there.
And I went back to work. Thanks.
And we also had ourselves, Long Bangers, Down the Slope, Strong Opinion Hibs, and Gavin from Hibs.pod, all chatting to Ron Gordon, and that is also available on our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. So there's the plugs out the way, but it was a busy week. Like I say, myself and Stuart reacted to the news at Maloney department. Just quickly, Papa Stu, what was your kind of thoughts and how are you digesting it a week on?
Oh, there's a cat. Listen, you look at it now, it doesn't matter what you say. He's away now, and we've got to be positive and move on. At the time, I still think it was wrong. Excuse me. I still think it was wrong for 19 games in, because if he had won on Saturday there against St Mirren, would be in a better mood. Okay, might have got beat, I don't know, but it's in hindsight. But I thought we should have gave him till the end of the season. But that's just me. A lot of people say that the club were wrong as well, and then some other folk were saying, supporters were saying, he had to go. So what we can only say what we feel. And at the time, it was a bit raw, and I just thought it was wrong. So, I don't know I can't remember what you guys said. There were so many opinions, and that is the thing. But listen, football's a game of opinion.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think we were generally so on the fence about it. We were under the agreement that the results hadn't been right, the performances hadn't been right, but it was also ridiculous to get rid of him that soon in. You could semi-understand the club getting frustrated with it as well. Maybe have they looked at season ticket numbers and said, look, they're down already. Where would you expect to be in this time of year? Do we want to give Maloney another transfer window with another kitty? No, we're just going to cut our losses now and get somebody else in. That's
I guess
where it's come to.
Yeah, that's the worrying thing is the results weren't there, and there was other caveats, which, like I say, I put to Ron. I had mentioned last week in our instant reaction. But there is the sort of thing of, if you do allow him to build a team and the results stay the same, then you've got to sack him, and then you're back at square one. Whereas you can kind of give a manager a better platform from the summer. But there's pros and cons to both. Like I say, I do worry what another manager would think coming in when two managers going in one season. But 19 games isn't exactly a long time to prove yourself, especially when the best player gets sold and your two strikers are injured. But anyway, we've delved on that enough. So we did think, do we start with the St Mirren game or the managerial situation? I put it out on Twitter and asked you guys, and 81% of people asked us to kick off the show with the managerial chat. So that is what we're doing. We didn't really touch on this a lot last week. One, because we both had work to get back to, and two, because the names that kind of come out are just fans speculating, bookies speculating. But reports have started to come out in the last 24 to 48 hours. The name that's kind of been talked about the most is Roy Keane. When we asked people who they wanted. There's a lot of good engagement with people on social media in regards to that. A lot of times Neil Lennon was coming up. We've touched on Neil Lennon enough. He's not coming back. But Papa Stu, I mean, if people are wanting a Lennon type, Roy Keane ticks a lot of those boxes in terms of style.
Gavy's a massive name. But as I've said to you before, the first question, if he is interested, the first question that he's going to ask is, what's the budget? And how am I, what am I allowed to do? Because Maloney wasn't allowed to do as much as, he was wanting, so a big name and a big personality like Keane, he's going to come in and he's actually going to, he never took the Sutherland job because it wasn't right. So it's got to be right at Easter Road. So if he did take the job, and if it did happen, he's asked all the questions and he has been, and they've been answered correctly. And Ron has actually said, right, you've got carte blanche. Because he'll not go to a club if he's not got, his say on the matter and bringing in his team. Yes, it would be great, but he's maybe too big a personality, Gav.
Stuart, is he somebody that you want?
I'm really on the fence by this. It'll be amazingly exciting. It's basically kind of Neil Lennon 2.0 on speed, crack, and any other drug you can get your hands on down the docks. It'd be absolutely phenomenal. But I think he's too old school. I don't know if his managerial style, persona now fits in. And 100% agree with Stu's points on, is he going to get the right answers to the questions he's being asked? Remember, Hibs are going to be asking questions as well. These kind of appointments should always be a two-way street. It'd be great for club profile, but do you not think he's dug himself out a really nice kind of niche and a job on Sky Sports News? He's wanting to give that up to come to Hibs? And that's no disrespect to Hibs.
I think, Stuart, I think if he does come along, he's got to think out the box and bring in a young coach. Listen, he was, he played alongside Maloney. So it could have worked for him to be there and Maloney to be, the assistant before all this kicked off with Maloney being the manager. Because Maloney, no disrespect, is a number two. But he's found that out himself probably. So if Keane did come in, Keane's going to have to bring in a number two is going to be, because you just touched on it. Excuse me. He's old school and he needs a young, you could talk about Cathro. I'm not saying him, but a guy like Cathro, Maloney, who are younger and they've got the coaching ability on the grass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the most successful spell they had, I remember hearing a quote from an ex-player about Sunderland was when he had Ricky Sprasia as his assistant manager. And he said Roy Keane would give you a team talk and you would be ready to run through the door, even though it was closed, and just, leave your, cartoon silhouette of yourself through the door. And then you'd be so pumped up, and then Ricky Sprasia would step in and start talking about the tactics and how you're actually going to play and how you're actually going to achieve what Roy Keane just pumped you up to do. So yeah, I think there does need to be that balance. There has been a lot of concern, like say, obviously he's a big name, and a lot of people are kind of shocked. He's kind of the reports coming out that he's interested, and that Hibs are now interested to speak to him. They're the two reports that have came out Sunday and Monday. But the concerns are the lack of experiences in the first team position. I think it's been about 10 years since he was the number one. And like I say, Callum pointed this out, one of the fellow Hibs pointed out that he's not exactly got a great result record in derbies as well. A lot of people think, well, this might be somebody that helps us get better results in derbies. With the Ipswich team, he lost 4-1 to Norwich and lost 2-0 to Newcastle. That's going back quite a way. Michael Owen scoring the 2 goals for Newcastle, so that was 2008. But I mean, in terms of those sort of concerns, Stuart, has he maybe taken a step back from management, went in an assistant role, learned a lot, and is now ready to go again?
It's entirely possible. We don't know what he's been doing behind the scenes in football. Yes, we see the very public persona of Roy Keane, and I really like seeing Roy Keane on the TV. He doesn't mince his words. It's definitely the kind of fire that you're wanting. I would just honestly be amazed if he comes in. Whether it's going to be he's actually interested, like these reports seem to have gathered arms and legs and started running. Whether it actually happens, whether I just don't know, but I really can't see it.
It's lazy journalism, to be honest, Stuart, because it's on the verge of talks. So it's not talking; they're on the verge of the talking, and of course it's not him; it's his agent. So that's just to sell papers or get you to click onto their webpage. On Roy Keane, Sunderland, he managed 100 games and he won 42. So he's only got 42% win ratio with Sunderland, and it was worse off at Ipswich. It was 39. Excuse me. So it was something like it was 39% win ratio. So he's not. He's not the best manager on record, but see, Ron's got to put bums on seats now, because who's going to be buying season books? This is a problem. We could be down to, I can't remember who it was. Was it with Fenlon and whatever, when we were down to 6,000, 6,500? We could be back down to that again. We could lose 4,000 or 5,000 fans, and they'll just say, you know what, we're just, especially with the no COVID now, but with the war and everything, and the actual utility bills going up and everything, there's not a lot of money kicking about now, so you're going to lose some. But with regards our team not playing well in the park, this is another thing that's going to, we could lose 4,000 easy, and that's going to hit Hibs, especially during the summer period, because you sell season books to pay the wages through summer.
Yeah, the pressure is definitely on for Ron Gordon to get this appointment right. So like I said, it might be a lot of paper talk about Roy Keane, but obviously it's the kind of headline one that we're kind of talking about there. Let us know if you think it's kind of realistic. But if not Roy, who and why? So Stuart, I mean, is there a name that you've seen that kind of interests you the most?
No.
Okay.
No, this is the stupid thing. The amount of names on this list, you're like, don't want him. Is he still alive? Far too early for him. Yeah. No, there's not.
We're going to go
name.
through the list now briefly, but aye. Papa Swain, is there
I think the one that. Sorry,
you go.
I was going to say the one that semi interests me is ex-Celtic boss Ronnie Dahlia. That's kind of it.
Fantastic result for New York last night. They were 2-0 down and they won 5-4. 9 goals, red card. What a game!
Did he come out and do an airplane type thing?
No airplane, but I'm sure. I'm sure he done the Ronnie's Road at the end as well. But yeah, cracking kit they've got. It's like an orange with like blue. But anyway, I'm getting distracted.
Orange and blue, really cracking. Yeah.
Fair play.
Really,
okay. Yeah, know your audience, Gav. Come on. The design is nice. The colours could be better. Papa Stu, is there any names sticking out to you?
Not one.
Right.
There's a lot that I don't want, but you're going to go through the list.
Yeah.
I can't see Roy Keane leaving Sky to come to Easter Road.
Yeah.
Can't see it. So apart from Roy Keane, which would be fantastic for Hibs, I really mean it. It's second to none, the name. But he would have to have his number 2 and correct, as I said. But everyone else I've seen on that bookies list, I'm not really interested. I still think that Ron will pull one from left wing. He always pulls something. Always brings something, into the Easter Road, and you think, what's he doing here?
It wouldn't surprise me if we went for a topper level but foreign manager, which is always the worry of someone coming in for the Scottish game. I like to think football is football all the world over, but it's really not. It's a different breed in Scotland for whatever reason. Whether they were obviously talking about the Ghent coach as well. His name floating around again. I don't know if that's wishful thinking. Maybe.
Stuart, I still think that he'll be looking somewhere in America that he knows.
Yeah.
Which I don't think it'll work, but I still think he'll be looking at that. He won't rule an American manager out. Coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I remember this is like deja vu of like 4 months ago, us saying about, like we kind of thought then it might be a foreign left field appointment we don't see coming, and then they would kind of come in, and then if they don't do well, then you already hear the fan base going, "Oh, we need something that knows the Scottish game," and then that doesn't work out, and it's, "Oh, we need to go left field." It's just an endless cycle now, which is getting a bit boring.
See, the thing is, Gav, he pulled it out with Maloney. He did that. Maloney, we were like, where the hell did he get him from? Or, this, because we thought that would be fantastic because what he's done as a number 2 in Belgium. And we thought, that's a good appointment. I can see where he's coming from. But it was out the blue. We never, ever expected Sean Maloney.
Yeah. And I think Jack Ross was more of a Leanne and Graham appointment. And Ron never seen that. But things have sort of changed in terms of who makes the decisions at the club. So the current bookie's favourite is Malky Mackay. He's got Ross County in the top 6, tracing for European places. Got Charles Cook as the top goal scorer in the league with 13 goals. However, let's kind of face it, there is a bit of controversy with him. He got let go by Cardiff because of the racist and sexist remarks he'd made in a private chat, which got made public. I mean, sure, the sort of goodwilly thing recently kind of shows that, just because it's been let off at a smaller club, no disrespect to Ross County, doesn't mean that there's not going to be a public backlash if somebody like him gets in a position of power at Hibs.
Yeah, certainly there was a lot of Ross County fans that were not happy about the appointments. I'd like to know what their thoughts are now that he's obviously got them playing better football and getting some results in there. It's still a no from me, though. This is the time for us to make sure that we are solidifying ourselves as a community and a family club. That would send the wrong message for me.
Yeah, right. I agree with that. Yeah, Stuart, perhaps you the same.
Yeah. I don't like the guy. I'm sorry, but I know that's maybe a bit nice and just you dismiss a guy because you don't like him. But I just don't like. I've never liked him when he was down south, getting interviewed. It was I just don't know. I don't think the players would like him.
But
I think you've got to get on with your manager. I have to. I'm a Hibs supporter.
If they appoint him, I'm not going to be standing outside the West Stand protesting. But I think my kind of attention span and understanding for him being in there is going to be even shorter than normal.
Listen, if I never back the manager, I've got to show my boys that I'm a role model. I'm only kidding because you're. No, joke apart.
You've turned this into a laughing stock, honestly.
Yes, no, I've got to back him because he's the manager in my team that I've supported for 50 years. So you've got to. However, he could come in and he could, win silverware and then he's great. But I just don't like the man as he gets interviewed and his demeanor of the way he talks and whatever. And if he's like that, in front of cameras, what is he like behind the scenes with players?
Yeah,
you've got to have a good harmony, Gav.
Yeah, I think like Stuart said there about like we're meant to be a community club, family club. Appointing him, that it kind of just goes out against that in my eyes. I'd be very disappointed if Hibs went for him, and that's the sort of view shared by Hibs fans. There was a poll on .net. Malky Mackay, yes or no? 34.7% said yes, would they take him? 16.3% said no because he's not a good manager. But the winning thing was 48.95% no because of the racist, sexist, homophobic remarks.
So that's not a big margin.
No, it's closer than I thought it would be. Yeah, but the majority of fans are kind of against it there.
Gav, it's amazing what 6 or 7 games do, right? If he never won these games and got into the top 6, we wouldn't even be talking about Malky Mackay. No. But it's because, he got to the top 6 with Ross County. What could he do with Hibs? He's a great manager. He was shit at Christmas time. They were wanting him out. He's had a good run. Managers have been great up to Christmas, and then after that, they've had a rubbish run. So you want them out, just what with Maloney done. So it's been roles reversed. Malky Mackay's brilliant, Maloney's rubbish. and it could have went that way.
Hibs have got more points than them at the moment.
I know.
Because of the split, it's crazy.
Then he talked to me about the split.
So yeah, could it be a controversial one? I like we've kind of covered all bases, I think there. But yeah. Other names included Sir David Gray. I mean, myself and Stuart kind of briefly spoke about him. He was kind of the only one. Papa Stu, is it too early for Sir David?
Yeah. Be a coach, assistant manager. Listen, David Gray, I love him. You know, he's what he's done for Hibs, but I think you could put him under the bus. You know, because if he doesn't get the win ratio up, and what happens? Do we turn on him? Oh, because it's Sir David Gray, he scored the winning goal for the Scottish Cup. Do we just stay with him? The fans won't. They'll turn their back on him. He's better being a number 2 or a number 3, you know, in there as a coaching. He had a 4-year deal. He's maybe got about 2 years left or something. I don't know, 2.5, 3. But no, David Gray, if you make him manager, look what happened to Sozzy. Jesus. You know, that man done everything when he was playing with Hibs for us. You know, his commitment I'm talking about, and he was a fantastic player. I think 64 games he got or something. No, even that was it.
No, 64 days.
64 days, sorry.
Aye.
64 days he got. Right. You know, the man, he wasn't a manager, but we've sort of let him off.
I think if you get the right appointment now, and Sir David, and it's a really successful appointment, Sir David learns from that manager, he would then be in a position to be the right out favourite and sort of ready to step in it when, like say, in the best case scenario, when a manager comes in, does really well, and then a bigger team comes along, pays compensation and takes their manager away in like 3 years' time, after 2 Scottish Cups and 4 European trips or whatever, then that makes sense for David to kind of step in then. But yeah, again, a bit too early. He's probably learned a lot from this season. Caretaker twice, you know, learnt from under Jack Ross and Maloney. He would have learnt things that worked, things that worked, things that he would have taken a step back and went, that's no working, and here's why. You know, it's kind of what you kind of do when you're kind of seeing yourself in that.
Gav, you never know. You know, and it just so happens I checked, but you never know with Keane. Let's argument's sake, Keane is in the frame. Now, he just missed David Gray at Man United, right? Because David Gray was playing with Man United. He was the second or third right back under Neville. Now, he knows Gary Neville. And who is pals with Neville? Keane on Sky. He's talking to him every day of the week. So does Keane say to Gary Neville, what do you think? Aye. And he's on the phone to David Gray. You never know. That it's all about who you know nowadays. And there's a possible chance that it could develop with regards Roy Keane saying to Gary Neville, Gary Neville's talking to David Gray. What's happening up there? What happened with Sean? Aye. So, you know, you never know. David Gray could be a number 2 to Roy Keane if that's the case. That would be exciting for me, because I think that excuse me, we're talking about and you know, to get a good number 2 in for if Roy Keane did come. Who's to say that David Gray can't be?
Yeah, I would have learned a lot from this year, and it'll be kind of an exciting one. I hope he is involved in the management team, however it kind of is set up. Next name sort of in the sort of list is Kevin Thompson. Just won the League 2 with Kelly Hearts, 78 points, so 19 points ahead of the second place. He's had a very good season, Stuart, but again, probably too early for him, and there's concerns whether he would just be using it to get to Rangers.
Yeah, massive concerns for that. He's probably not covered himself in glory with regards to talking about Hibs in the media, and also with his current team, Kelty. They have had a much, much, much bigger budget than everybody else in and around them. Yes, he's won the league at a canter, but that would be a huge, huge leap up.
But Stuart, did Barry Ferguson? Was it Barry Ferguson was a manager there before? What's his name? Yeah, but did Barry Ferguson not sort of, you know, have half of that won before he came in anyway? Is it, or did he never had them
No,
from the
I'm
start
sure
of the season, did he?
I'm sure it was the start. See, I'll double check that just now. While supposed.
Aye, sorry, I thought it was me. Sorry, Stuart. Sorry, I'm
That's
just thinking that Kevin Thompson came in there after Barry Ferguson left. You know, and it was like he had a starter for him. I don't know.
No, couldn't. Got to be honest, couldn't have told you if he was in right at the start of the season or if he's coming and taking over there. But yeah, it's still far too big a leap.
Aye. No,
yeah, 45 games, including cup and stuff. So yeah, start of the season he came in. From May 2021 he came in. I think Paddy Ferguson got sacked at the end of the season, and he's overseen a couple of games before starting this season. So yeah, it has been him. But yeah, again, just another one that's probably too soon. Other names, like say, stop me if you want to talk about them. I can't really see it. Steve Keane, obviously current in his position. He was linked with it last time, nothing. So, and the fact he's not even in the caretaker position, I don't think that's a likely one. Derek McInnes obviously just won the championship with Kilmarnock. James McPake sacked for Dundee.
Getting worse.
Alan Stubbs, his name's always going to come up, but I don't think we're going to go back to that one. Jonathan Woodgate's kind of drifted away. It was one that was kind of talked about early on, but seems unlikely. Neil Lennon just started a new job, and again, I think we kind of keep on going back. Martindale done a good job with Livy, but I think he's happy where he is. Unsworth, again, another one that's kind of linked a lot. Kennedy, Scott Brown, Bob Bradley. I think that's who's an American manager who can with the one. Gary Monk, Lee Johnson, Marvin Bartley. Again, another one I'd love to see involved in some sort of management team. That's a year now at Livy is number 2, so getting him involved would be good. Paul Lambert, please God no. And Rob Edwards is the kind of last one I've got written down there. He is the Forest Green manager, just won the English League 2 with Forest Green. So good season for him. Only 39 years old, so a young upcoming manager that I'm sure will do well.
It's like Maloney.
Aye, but he's won something. He's won a league, so on a shorter budget as well. So it's a big achievement. But I think that's probably a bit ambitious to think we could persuade him away. And obviously we should be kind of aiming that level. But when he's just won League 2, he's probably thinking there's a project there, unless it's battle relegation and we seem a bit more exciting. But anyway, so like say, any other kind of names that you guys have seen or you'd like to see us go for?
No, I'm just totally lost.
Yeah,
I'd give it to Papa Stewart at this point. After having listened to that list, I just get
it's funny. It's funny. Adele says to me, she says, "You know what? You could get him going in that changing room." Honestly, they need somebody to give him a kick up the arse, because we're going to touch on it. With St Mirren game. Jeez,
yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll wait for more developments. I'm sure this will be a conversation that will keep on going in the weeks to come. Can I say it's always good to kind of when it first comes out, run through the names that are linked. Hopefully more names come out, because it's not an inspiring list at the moment. But the one of the names we did talk about was Sir David Gray. So let's talk about his performance as caretaker manager and the win versus St Mirren in part 2. So the St Mirren game was a bit of a bore fest, if we're honest. I think that's why it's been pushed back to part 2. We can I think 81% of people wanted to hear us talk about the manager, because there's not a lot to talk about from the St Mirren game. In terms of the team lineup before the game started, similar formation but a slight change. So it was still the back 3, Cadden on the right, Clark on the left. At the wing backs, Newell and Jake Dalhayes in front of them. However, the sort of front 3 was changed around, so it was Melkerson and James Scott as a front 2, with Henderson playing behind them in the 10, his best position. The sort of first sort of chance for Hibs, James Scott picked up the ball, drove towards goal. It was kind of a bit of a bobble about. Thankfully, it came to him. Drove towards goal, and a shot from outside the box goes over the bar. But I mean, Stuart, looking through like highlight packages when we signed them and stuff, and what he done at Motherwell. That's what he done at Motherwell, getting to that area and taking shots from outside the box. I'm more confident in on-form. James Scott was probably a bit more on target.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, he raised a few eyebrows with his selection at the semi-final. I wasn't that offended by seeing him back in the lineup today. He was certainly getting it tight from some of the supporters, whether it was online or whether it was kind of just in group chats and things like that. But for me, he did okay for most of the part of it in a pretty bore average game where nobody really put their head above the parapet.
Yeah, and like I say, I mean, Jay Henderson had a chance. He was quite busy for St Mirren, just dragged wide, and then they had a header which was saved by Macy, and they were already into the second half. But it was patient play from Hibs, knocking it about the defence, and then Henderson came deep to try and get involved. Slips the ball to Newell from the halfway line. Newell drives forward down the left-hand side and crosses from deep, which was good to see. The header from James Scott, just not enough on it, but Papasu, it was a good passage of play and good to see Henderson coming deep to try and create things.
Yeah, it was good to see Henderson playing in that position, and it just beggars belief that Sean Maloney didn't play him when he signed him. He should have been playing that because he wouldn't change his formation. So, yeah, I was pleased for Henderson. He was very busy on the ball, delivering free kicks, corner kicks, unbelievable. The guys, I really do really like how he pings his corners in, because I think Porteous has scored from one of his corners before. I think it was the Easter Road. No, I like Henderson. Really good player, and he's only young too.
He's definitely got a name to live up to, let's be fair. But for me, he was my man of the match in the game. Don't know if this is too early to say that, but he certainly showed a lot more than the rest. Some good driving runs as well. Delighted for him to get his first goal and a winning goal as well. Brilliant. My one slight criticism of him, I hope he hits the gym in the off-season. Lad, he needs to bulk up a wee bit. I don't think that's going to affect his game at all. He's definitely got it in his locker. But going slightly back to your point, Sean Maloney, it was a Sean Maloney signing. He was something we wanted to see. Why he wasn't getting his game time is baffling. Yeah.
It seems like Maloney was so determined to play this 3-4-3 formation with two wingers playing off central striker. And we don't have the strikers, like Nisbet's probably the best at that. But even then, we've always been critical of Nisbet playing up top on his own. So we never had the players for it, and he stuck with it. I think it's his biggest flaw with Maloney. And like I say, Henderson, his signing, one of the most exciting signings, doesn't fit into that formation. He's not really a winger, and he's not really one of the midfielders that can play in the two. So fair play to David Gray for making that just a slight change to play him behind. It didn't really work massively because it's a boring game. We didn't really create a lot, but it's a midfielder getting into the box. He kind of showed that drive, even like with the goal, which we might as well come to now. Like I say, it was Clark kind of picked up a ball from McGinn and kind of cut inside, and then there was a bit of a tussle. But Henderson read it, came in, just nicked it, a wee flick over the defender, jumped into the box. Sees a lot of composure, takes a bit of time, composure, sees the goalkeeper coming out, and a finish from a tight angle. Great to see a midfielder getting in the box and scoring goals, Stuart.
Yeah, very much so. I think it's worth pointing out that he nicked it off of Clark.
Clark just about kicked it away from him.
Almost. It was close. But you know what? We can laugh and let them away with it because it came to the winning goal. Great finish from him. We certainly haven't seen enough of our midfield this year coming forward, getting into those types of positions as well. I do, sorry, not to kind of dampen talking about the goal, but for me, Joe Newell and Jake Doyle-Hayes, for me, they really shouldn't be playing together. They're far, far too similar. Yeah, they get involved. They can get in a little bit of kind of scrap with it, things like that. For me, I felt when was that the young guy that St Mirren have got, Connor Rowan, is he from Wolves? For me, Jake Doyle-Hayes struggled against him for quite a lot of the time as well. And Joe Newell was just kind of typical Joe Newell. I don't think I was one of the people that was overly excited about him signing a new contract. That might sound harsh, and I want him to prove me wrong again, but I just didn't really feel it, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I get that. It's just one of those ones where, to me, if you want an exciting team, if this sort of formation we played on Saturday is kind of something that would maybe fit with this team, obviously once we make additions, I would like to see probably more new signings in there. But McGuinness, beside either Newell or Jake Doyle-Hayes, with Henderson in the 10 or somebody like that in the 10, makes a lot more sense to me. And then you've got two players that kind of want to burst forward into the box. And I think McGuinness's best position was the box-to-box sort of player. He's got that engine. Whether he's got it when he comes back from injury is probably another one. Anyway,
can I say, guys,
yeah, sure.
about Clark? I don't know what I thought when he was coming here, but I did. I actually thought that he was going to be playing either right back or right off a three at the back.
Yeah,
and I think that's his best position. Playing right a three or playing four at the back, and he's right back because he's better than McGinn. Definitely, he can get up and he's box to box. I know he's not a player. I know he's on loan, but that'd be the guy I'd want to sign and for long term and get him on that position. No left, because Maloney was only putting him over there to counterbalance his formation. I'm talking about put him on the right and him going up and down there and helping the forwards, and then he'll get back. The guy's brilliant, and you didn't go to Arsenal for no reason.
No, of course not. It'd be interesting to see what happens in the summer window with him, because am I correct in saying we've got him past the window, but there's a break clause that Arsenal can say, yeah, we're having him back?
Yeah, every window Arsenal have got an opportunity to take him back, whether like they did with Ross County, so whether it be the summer or the next January window.
To be honest, what is it? Arsenal's not going to take him back, are they? He's not in that league.
Ross County probably thought that in January.
But we took him.
Yeah. So, but what I would say, what if like Bournemouth or something? They think,
I see. Right.
Maybe the English Championship's a better loan move for him. So then they call him back and then send him out somewhere. Like that.
So that's what they're doing. They want to put him up a level and
potentially,
say, well, pull him back, and he's going to go to Bournemouth for argument's sake. Right? I see. I thought you were talking about they can pull him back to Arsenal. I was going to say he wouldn't be playing for Arsenal.
Yeah. They'd only take him back if they had somewhere else to send him. But yeah, I completely agree. It's one of those ones where, I spoke about my sort of thoughts on Cadden. I think he's a very good player whose crosses frustrate me, partly because, like I say, he's usually got one person in the box to aim for. It's a bit of a frustrating one where we've finally got two people in the box for him to aim for, and then he goes off injured. So hopefully that's not a serious one. But yeah, Clark looked much better on the right-hand side. So it'll be an interesting one once Cadden comes back, how you can fix that. And like I say, until the end of the season, I'd like to see Josh Doig play every minute so that he can find his form going into next season. And other sort of chances, like say one that was sort of before the goal, Henderson had a chance. Jay Henderson had a chance that was knocked over the bar, and he also had one where they got a free kick and it kind of came out to him, and again sort of just wide. So yeah, he was one that was kind of busy for St Mirren, but other than that, we kind of kept them quiet. A clean sheet, 3 points. Not a great performance, though, Papa Stu.
Should have been 2-0. Josh Campbell.
Yeah, sorry, yes. That was.
Listen, that should have been in the back of the net. I don't know what he was. I think that's just. I don't know.
That reminded me of Ollie Shaw's, Hibs career, but also the chance he had for Kilmarnock. I don't know if you've seen that game where he was. Yeah. He took the ball down and he flicked it over the boy's head, got in one-on-one with it. The goalkeeper came out, and all he's got to do is finish it, and he puts it wide.
I know.
For him, the game was already won, but that was very similar to that.
But massive credit to Jasper. What did he get? 10 minutes or so. His defence were quite deep, but he was always looking dangerous going forward, and that pass from him was inch perfect.
Yeah. Listen, when you seen behind the camera behind Josh Campbell hitting the ball, it was maybe about 2-3 inches, 6 inches maybe above the bar. It wasn't that bad, but he should have been making the goalie, save it. But if it was on target, it was a goal for me.
He saw his name in lights, maybe.
Aye.
It didn't affect the result. Kind of Campbell's had a difficult season, kind of burst onto the scene, looked really, really positive, and it's not quite progressed in the manner that ourselves or him will have wanted. But I'm hoping there's going to be another one there. He's not going to fall into a line of kind of young Hibs talented players we've given a long contract to that have fallen short.
You know what I thought when we missed that and they came up for the last minute or so, couple of minutes, I thought, fuck, here we go.
They pulled their keeper. I was like,
I thought, see if they score now. That is our luck all season.
That would have
should have scored. And then they came up and they were, I thought, here we go. But okay, we got the win.
Yeah. Like I say, there was another one where Mirren hit the bar just after our goal. I meant to say, but yeah. So there was a few scary moments. It wasn't plain sailing. So Mirren haven't been on great form, so it's maybe one of those ones we're a bit lucky. Our opponents are kind of struggling as well, but a much needed one.
Yeah, what I've got to say though, Macy, okay, had a couple of kind of standard saves and things like that. The one that he had in the first half, which was low down, he got a good fingertip on to kind of take away. That was a great save. But by God, for a guy keeping a clean sheet, he came out flapping a couple of times.
He's 6'7", Stuart. He's bigger than you.
He's a bit short. No, come on. That's not fair.
Segman, how many times does he come out? I think I've seen him once. I think it was against Hearts. He came out, and that's what he should be doing, coming out. Because when he jumps and puts his arms up, he must be, 8.5 feet?
Aye.
9 feet. Must be at least 9 feet in the air.
Aye, Craig Gordon's so good at that, and he's no 6'7". He just comes out and he just commands that box. Anytime you put a cross in, he's like, nah, it's mine though. You're wasting your time. Macy's definitely got to get better at that.
Andy's kicking.
Yes, his distribution was pretty woeful as well. But yeah, in terms of the league table, that's us up to 41 points now, 10 points ahead of St Johnstone. So, in terms of a wee bit of excitement, not in a good way, definitely the season over now, isn't it? No relegation playoff. I think mathematically probably could, but yeah, we'd have to lose all our games, and St Johnstone would have to win all 4 games. Otherwise, like say, or win 3 and draw 1. And even then, we've got a better goal difference, so that wouldn't be enough.
I think Aberdeen are in bigger trouble than we are.
Oh, big stuff. Yeah. 5 points for them. So, yes, it's kind of, like I say, I think it was a much we need a big 3 points in terms of putting all that to bed. And like I say, we can just sort of relax and enjoy the rest of the season. I'm sure there's money to be had between finishing 7th and 8th, but at the end of the day, I'd rather we kind of utilise it. Maybe even like say, I know Connor's apparently injured, but get Laidlaw minutes, get, players minutes, get Muller minutes so that he's more ready to kick on. But yeah, I would be surprised, Gav. Sorry, with regards the Livi game that you'll touch on. Yeah, I think they'll play out a draw there. There you go. Play out a draw. Everyone's happy.
Way ahead of yourself. But yeah, let's
no one can afford to get beat, and they'll take a point. But I'm just calling it that we'll play a draw.
Well, in terms of the meetings so far this season, there hasn't been a draw yet. There's a good segue for you. We beat Livingston 2-0 in August. In December, it was 1-0 to Livingston. And then, of course, a few months ago, the end of January, 3-2 to Livingston, 2-0 up, and we fucked it up. So, yes. So, in terms of Livingston's sort of recent form, they were seconds away from finishing the top 6 and not playing us. Lamy scoring in the last minute, I think, to equalise for Motherwell, to put Motherwell into top 6 instead. I'm not sure if Thingley's going to be back. Their striker, the main striker, the one that was Aberdeen, Bruce Anderson, he's been injured, so they've kind of been missing him. I'll check if he was back involved. No, he wasn't. So he's still injured, I think. At least he was. He's been a big part for them this season. However, they did manage to beat Aberdeen 2-1. I'd like to say Aberdeen in a lot of trouble, but 2-1 win at Pittodrie. A good result for them to come off, Stuart, going into this game.
They were very, very lucky boys, though, with it. 0-0, the Livi keeper, hands to face. Somehow both players get booked for it, and 0-0, your keeper gets sent off. That's a totally different game. For it, there's a reason why we're not looking at Martindale, or we're not interested in Martindale. He goes through little purple patches, hasn't he? He always has done it. Where they hit the ground running and then they absolutely plummeted off. Then they get another little run, and it just kind of. I think with the way the league's fallen the last couple of years, he flatters to deceive.
It's been the same when he was assistant manager as well. There's always been those purple patches, which has kind of got them into contention for Europe or finished high up in the bottom 6 and stuff. So, but in terms of the resources they've got, it's some achievement for them to be safe. Especially with the squad they had going into the season, I thought they were in real trouble. But they keep on getting these little sort of good players on loan, like say Bailey and Forrest, who's obviously linked with Hearts. Some good players and some tricky wingers, which we'll have to keep quiet.
To be honest, Gav, I think if they did go down, which they're not, if they did go down, I don't think you would see Livi again because they've got 700, 800 season books. That's not enough. And then you wouldn't have, the top 6 supporters coming there and giving them a lot of money. And that's what keeps them.
Yeah.
There's the Celtic, Hibs, Hearts, Rangers, So, that is Livingston. That's maybe what was probably said to the players, how he's got something out of them. Listen, You'll not be here. You'll be away looking for another club because they'd be tough to go part-time.
Right. Well, they're on the same points as us, so that is them safe for this season as well. Bruce Anderson, I apologise, was back on the bench, but didn't come on. So, he's their main striker. Obviously, they've got the other striker, Hamilton, who is on loan and doing really well at Arbroath. I'm sure he'll be more involved with Livingston next season. But yeah, I mean, in terms of a Hibs point of view, Papa Stu, same again in terms of seeing a bit more, sort of sticking with us and seeing if it can start to click, or is there players like Mueller and Jasper you'd like to see play?
It's difficult. Let's get enough points that we can't go down or go into the relegation match, right? Once, so let's argument say the next game we get and that's us, and mathematically nothing can happen. Yes, let's start playing the so-called fringe players like Mueller and Melkerson and play that way. But
do you not think we've done a very non-Hibs thing though? At the weekend, we got our 3 points, and that was it. Normally, we'd be saying, "Oh yeah, another 3 points will be fine." Okay, we didn't get it this week. Another 3 points will be fine. And then all of a sudden, it starts to creep into the last 2-3 games. And then it really starts to get a bit shaky. We're fine.
Right. We'll have to worry about. As I say, Stuart, as I said, I think that another point, a wee point each with Livingston. Is it Livingston on Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Livingston, point each. I wouldn't be surprised because there's too much pressure nowadays with regards getting in this Premiership for the both teams. Hibs couldn't go down again. That would really put us back.
I know you're saying about mathematical and stuff, but St Johnstone got pumped 7-0 for Celtic and then drew with Dundee, who are even worse. So they're not going to beat St Mirren, Livingston, Aberdeen in their last 4 games. And that's what needs to happen. It's no.
I understand that, Gav, but
totally fine.
But yes, I know we're fine. Yeah, I'm relaxed. No, I'm relaxed.
Need more time. Youngsters time.
Yeah.
Let's go all in.
Listen,
is it too early to get Mitchell back? How's Mitchell doing? Can he come back?
He actually did start training, so that's a good show, actually.
Aye.
Yeah, so say that would definitely help a lot.
Bloody plastic pitch.
Yeah, took the words out of my mouth. Do you want to have his first game back on the plastic pitch? Maybe no.
No, nobody should be able to play on a plastic pitch.
No.
Yeah.
I know you've got
another one
friends
to play in next year with Kilmarnock coming up, which is brilliant.
I know, and that's worse.
Aye.
Say aye to a Killie pie. I'm actually happy that Killie are back up. I have to say that because somebody who does listen into this podcast is a massive Killie fan, and if I don't say it out loud, he'll no talk to me.
And if just while we're on that, just quickly, Stuart, if people wanted to hear that Killie fan and yourself talk about motor vehicles, where could they find you?
They could find us live at 7:00 every Wednesday. Thank you very much.
Not Tuesday like I made a tit of it a couple of weeks ago. Well, it used to be Tuesday, to be fair to me. Anyway,
I'll give you that. Yeah.
Yes. So, score predictions for the game. I'll come to you, Papa Sue, since you've already given away what you think it's going to be.
1-1 or 2-2.
Right,
a draw.
Sure.
2-0 to the Hibs. That's it.
Love it. Aye. I'll go 2-1. Especially like say, aye, they know how to play on that pitch. But no, I think we're the Porteous is still out. It's the last game Porteous missed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gav, can you check back? Can you check back what I said the last time against St Mirren? Did I not say it was a 1-1 or a 1-0 for Hibs? Remember, because you says, we'll score goals because they were leaking in goals like 4 and whatever St Mirren, and I says aye, but we can't score, so we'll probably just maybe get, if we do anything, we'll get 1. That's what happens. We were getting back to that game there. I know you're talking about this game now, but where are we going to get the goals?
Yeah,
that's the problem. And the thing is, watch Livingston. Livingston are quite, they're quite handy up top.
Yeah. Like I say, the fact that they've been scoring goals without their main man, and now he's back, it's kind of one to worry about as well. But like I think, like I say, James Scott's playing like a player that doesn't look 100% fit, doesn't look 100% confident, but he's trying to get into those positions. And I think, another week in training, kind of working on them. I expect a wee goal for James Scott. I think last week on the podcast I had Christian Deutsch been coming back and being our saviour, but I don't know what's going on with him because he wasn't back so much for a late fitness test for the Hearts game and still doesn't play against St Mirren a week later. Don't know what's going on there. It's a strange one. But the sooner he gets back, the better. Hopefully, like say, James Scott can get a goal soon. Melkerson, I don't know. Yeah, he's showing flashes, but definitely one probably more for the future. But I think a wee win against Livingston can probably get us more kind of cement in that 7th place. And like I say, we can kind of enjoy the last 3 games of the season.
Well, I hope so, Gav. I'm not being, I'm not being negative. I'm just saying, as I said last week on the pod, I can't see the goal where the goals are coming from, unless something happens that the players just seem they're free now because they know that there's no they're not going down and there's not any they can play freely, and that's it. And that's maybe what they're needing. So if that happens and then we start scoring goals, I'll take it all back. But I just can't see where our goals are coming from. We've not got any forwards there to score goals.
Yeah, well, I wish kind of like say taking us back to the start of the podcast, bringing it full circle, kind of does make you think of it was a bit harsh on Maloney when he doesn't have any strikers to score the goals and he gets sacked because we're not scoring goals and winning games. It's kind of hands kept tied behind back kind of thing. But anyway, we'll kind of wrap it up there. Let us know your thoughts on all of these things we've discussed today, whether it be Roy Keane, who you want as new manager, the St Mirren game, who's going to score the goals against Livy, any of that. Like I say, if you comment on the pinned tweet on either Twitter or on Facebook, there'll be the 2 pins, the ones with the links to the episode. I enjoyed really sort of engaging with people when we talked about the next manager, so do that and I'll reply and we'll keep the conversation going on the socials at the HFC Talk and search Hibs Talk. But yes, you guys got much planned for tonight?
Work. We're going to have to go to the office. No, I'm in the office, but the other office.
I'm actually cooking.
Oh, what are you cooking?
Chili con carne from scratch.
Nice.
Oh, from scratch. But do you usually buy it out of the bottle like?
That's it. It only comes in a tin.
You sound as if you sound as if you're really accomplished there. Out from scratch.
I'm thrilled to death by it. You can absolutely tell.
Are you quite an accomplished cook, Stuart?
No. I can follow a recipe. Like it. Nobody's died. I think that's the nice way of putting it.
Chili con carne. Get your onions, bits of carrots, and all the mince, and there you go. And you'll
send photos and updates. Don't worry.
And you'll be getting a jarry sauce, yeah.
No, I'm doing like chopped tomatoes and that properly.
Oh, you made chopped? Oh, no, that's
nice.
good. I thought you were going to put a jarry sauce in. I was going to say that's not cooking. That's heating up and.
All right, I can't get to your level, Stu, of cooking. Come on.
Oh, you've got to make it nice on the plate, mate. That's what it's about.
Well presented. So's Blue Peter. Anyway,
what's the Monday night football game tonight?
Palace versus Leeds.
Yeah.
I might be wrong. Who's at home there, but those two are the teams involved.
What are you up to, Gav?
Probably just sort of organising dinner. Because we get the meals for the week, so probably doing a bit of batch cooking and stuff, getting stuff organised for the rest of the week, stuff to worry about. And then, like I say, it's a busy week working until the weekend, so probably just...
batch cooking, mate. Batch cooking, that's how you go.
Absolutely. No, I do like a bit of batch cooking.
Yeah. It's like I say, we'll wrap up there. So thanks again, guys.
No problem.
Thanks very much for having us.
Yes.
Thank you very much for listening. We'll be back next week to look back at the Livingston game and look ahead to our penultimate home game of the season at home to Aberdeen. But yeah, like I say, we've been Hibs Talk. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers.
See you later.